I'm Eric Novak. When Genesis Motors launched about 4 years ago as a premium division of Hyundai, it had a couple of vehicles it could purge from Hyundai's lineup to start off with. So it had the Hyundai Equus, the full-size luxury sedan, which became the G90. It had the Hyundai Genesis, which then became the G80. And since then, it created a G70, a compact sedan. But beside me, we have the first SUV offering from Genesis Motors. It is the 2021 GV80. It has a lot of buzz around it and a lot of anticipation because there are those who believe this can give some serious competition to the traditional European leaders in this category. So let's take a look now at the 2021 Genesis GV80. As the first Genesis-branded SUV, the design team had the unique opportunity of establishing a styling baseline for this and future Genesis SUV designs to come. To my eye, they took their job seriously and did a remarkable job as a result. With a lower and wider stance than its targeted European competition, the exterior design of the GV80 expresses itself in a way that is both aggressive and elegant at the same time. Signature exterior design elements include a domineering crested front grille flanked on either side by quad front lamps. These two elements in combination will likely become the most distinctive and recognizable feature of the GV80. Twin parabolic lines run along the side and seamlessly connect with the rear that features quad design tail lamps to aesthetically match the front. North American buyers will have 2 engine choices and 4 trim levels in total to select from. I drove the top-end 3.5-liter Prestige trim in February, which were equipped with 22-inch wheels. I also drove the 2.5-liter Advanced trim in mid-March, and they were riding on 20-inch wheels. You'll find 19-inch wheels on the base 2.5-liter Select. As mentioned, there are 2 turbocharged engine options available for North American buyers. The inline 16-valve 2.5-liter turbo has a power output of 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque and is offered in 2 trim levels. There is also a 24-valve 3.5-liter twin turbocharged engine offered in 2 additional trim levels that provides 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. It should be noted that these output figures are achieved when the engines are drinking the good stuff as opposed to regular gasoline. There is a diesel-powered GV80, but it's not offered in North America. And while Genesis has made no official announcements, there is much speculation that an electrified GV80 will be available at some point down the line. Fuel economy numbers for each engine are reasonable considering the fact that these vehicles aren't light, but you're not going to be buying the GV80 for its fuel consumption. Combined fuel economy numbers for the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder turbo is 10.5 liters per 100 kilometers or 22.4 US miles per gallon. For the 3.5-liter 6-cylinder twin turbocharged engine, the combined number is 11.8 liters per 100 kilometers or 19.9 US miles per gallon. Both engines do have the ability to offer spirited driving, but when other design factors are considered, I see this more of a luxury SUV with some pep rather than a performance-oriented offering. With this 3.5T Prestige model, I am riding on what is an electronically controlled suspension, but it has what they call road preview. And there is a camera that is looking off from the front end of it, and it sees potholes, it sees speed bumps, and it will adjust the ride to sort of soften the blow, if we will, with what you're coming up to. And, you know, I've experienced it a couple of times, and it's interesting. I guess also reinforces the point that this is more of a luxury comfort type of vehicle as opposed to one that's dedicated to performance per se. Another interesting feature in the 3.5T Prestige is it has a road sort of a drive alert sensor where in front of me on the dash there are there's infrared cameras that's paying attention to my face, and it is making sure I am continuing to look forward. If I were to be looking elsewhere, which I won't since I'm driving and I have to stay alert, it would after a point in time notice and put a little visual cue on front here in the driver information display to remind me to keep my eyes forward. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's watching me, but it's a neat feature on the 3.5T Prestige. The interior of the GV80 is equally as impressive as the exterior. Spacious and elegant are hallmarks, yet it's designed in a way that's more minimalist than intricate. Part of the minimalist feel comes from the sleek and thin design of the air vents that run across the passenger compartment. For the most part, the interior appointments for all trims are the same. However, Genesis has tried to persuade buyers to choose the 6-cylinder models by adding some premium features to the top-end 3.5T Prestige that aren't available on the 2.5T Advanced, which is the premium 4-cylinder trim. Features such as wood grain instead of aluminum on the interior, a 12.3-inch digital driver information cluster, premium Nappa leather interior, an upgraded driver's seat featuring 16-way adjustments, power side bolsters, leg extensions, and a unique ergo motion system, ventilated rear seats, remote park assist, and more are only available if you pick the thirstier and more powerful powertrain. A 14.5-inch split-screen infotainment display sits atop the center stack. There are a multitude of features you can access through the screen, but I have mixed feelings on how one goes about doing so. The center console has a couple of interesting features that are definitely noteworthy. The drive-by-wire gear selector is quite elegant and pretty. It's sort of a glass round shape, and one of the nicer features is that the ambient lighting, which is throughout the interior, and you can change the colors, does shine through the gear selector as well, and it really gives it a very elegant glow overall. But just above it is they have this sort of a touch controller system, which is how you would try to access your stereo controls, your navigation, and things. And I will be honest, I don't like it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Lexus touchpad, but it's meant to recognize your handwriting, so you can sort of scribble and swipes. And there's also a rotating knob. It's very complex. And the other challenge for me with the handwriting is I'm left-handed, and this is on your right hand. Not that I can't write letters with my right, but it's an unnatural feel. So if I'm trying to think, well, what is this letter and where would I put? No, I would sooner see a more basic system, more intuitive and easier to use than what they have here with this system, whatever they call it again. An interesting and surprising option that comes with the 3.5, both trim levels and not the 4-cylinder, is that these 3.5s have seating for 7, whereas the 2.5s only have seating for 5 and 2 rows. And even though this has seating for 7, though, I would say this is not an ideal vehicle if you need 3 rows on a regular basis. The third row is hard to get to. I certainly didn't want to try it. I knew I'd get stuck. And there's not a lot of room. So, I mean, if you have small kids, perhaps, but it's really not something I would think you would want to have as an ongoing basis. You might say it's a 7-seater if necessary, but it's not necessarily a 7-seater. It's very much like the Lexus, the GX350L. When I drove that, it really did make sense to put it in there, other than just doing it on small occasions if you had to. But yeah, that's one of these different options between the 2.5 and the 3.5. I will say one thing about driving in the interior of this 3.5, the Prestige. It is really quiet. And I know they have applied sound canceling sort of technology. But there's been a couple times where I've got a 400 horsepower almost engine underneath the hood, but you'd swear it was electric because it really is quiet in here. If the idea is to position this GV80 3.5T Prestige as a luxury vehicle, in addition to a nice luxurious interior and comfortable ride, you got to have a good sound system, and they certainly have done that here. There is a Lexicon premium sound system in this 3.5T Prestige. It has 21 speakers, maximum output of 1,050 watts, and I got to admit, I've really enjoyed listening to it during my week here. The sound is clear. I mean, my origins of my career come from radio, so I've always had a soft spot for good OEM sound systems, and this one definitely hits the mark. In fact, I'm just going to turn up a little bit and listen to it right now as I'm dealing with traffic. When reviewing any Genesis vehicle, one can't overlook the fact that every Genesis new vehicle purchase includes its 5-year or 100,000 kilometer extensive list of added services. All scheduled maintenance is included, including annual updates to its built-in satellite navigation system. When maintenance is required, Genesis will pick up your vehicle and leave one behind for you to use in the interim. You also receive enhanced 24/7 roadside assistance and access to a suite of connected services. Now, to my mind, this has always been a real difference maker, and when you factor in how Genesis tends to price its vehicles thousands less than competitors from Mercedes, BMW, and Audi, you really start to make a compelling argument in favor of this first ever Genesis SUV. After spending a week with the 3.5-liter Prestige in winter a month ago and now a week with this 2.5-liter Advance at the beginning of spring, I think I can pretty conclusively say that this Genesis GV80 is a winner. There's a lot that I like about this vehicle, especially the exterior design. It really hits the mark for me, and I think judging by all the admiring glances I saw in both weeks that I was driving it from people just walking by and wondering, whoa, what is this vehicle? I think it's hit the mark with the general populace as well. Now, if there's one suggestion I could make for Genesis, though, it's that I wish we would have a little more flexibility with the engines and the trim options and upgrades that you could get. I think for my purposes, I would take the 4-cylinder engine because I don't really need more power than that for, if I was driving it. But I also really like some of the added options that you could get with the 3.5-liter Prestige, the premium stereo, the advanced suspension. And I don't like how automakers tend to package them together. Look, you want all the really good technology, you got to get the bigger engine. I know Genesis is the only one that does that, but if you could create two upper trim levels, one with the 4-cylinder and one with the 6, and give all the bells and whistles with each, I think you'd really have a winning package. But overall, this is a great vehicle. I think I really enjoyed it. And if you're looking in this market segment, I think once you've driven this and then realize how much less it costs than some of its direct competition, you'll probably like it too. That's it for this review. I'm Eric Novak. Thanks for watching. There's plenty of ways for you to keep connected with me, so check out some of my social media links, suggested videos, and I'd really love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel.